Hi folks, welcome to another episode of This Week in Ferrum Baseball. I'm your host Gary Holden. With me is head baseball coach Ryan Brittle. Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Gary. Just had deja vu.
Yeah, it seemed like we just did this. We joke about that, folks, because we just tried taping it on another camera and the audio didn't work, and we just had Ryan and I sitting there for 20 minutes just chit-chatting with no sound. So let's start all over again. Ryan, let's talk a little bit about last week. You guys played 4 games last week, a big conference series down against 27, I think it was, Piedmont was ranked 27th in the nation by one publication. You guys came away with 2 out of 3 wins, but started off the day with a pretty poor game, 10-0. Talk a little bit about what happened there in that game.
So we had Jake Perkins on the mound, and to be honest with you, Gary, I thought Jake pitched well. He was throwing strikes. He was throwing his breaking pitches for strikes. And it just seemed like, well, first of all, Piedmont's a good team. They did a really, really good job. And everything that Jake threw up there, they put a barrel on it, and it seemed to find a hole. And just couldn't calm the storm at all and get ourselves back into it. And offensively, we got shut down by a left-hander, and we've struggled with lefties over the past few weeks. And just couldn't scratch a run across and get a big hit to kind of get ourselves back in the game, and end up the game getting away from us at the end because of a few errors. And
Seems like when it rains, it pours in those situations. You just can't stop the bleeding.
It does, and it's really the first game all year that we've kind of had to get away from us like that.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
Kudos to them, but we were able to, in the second game of the series. Between games, we had a nice Subway sandwich and sat down, relaxed, and kind of cleared our minds and got back to work in the second game. Dylan Weaver came out and pitched 5 innings and didn't give up any runs, and we ended up winning the ball game 5-2. And kudos to our guys for fighting back in the second game and making us doubleheader split on the day, so we had an opportunity to win the series on Saturday.
So it's a good feeling coming out of that first day, the doubleheader, knowing that, okay, you got blown out in the first game, but you did what you had to get the series split, then you go into the rubber game the next day.
And as we get deeper in the series, I don't know if this is the truth or not, but we feel like the advantage starts to swing in our direction. We feel like we got the advantage to start it, but it really starts to swing in our direction because of our starting pitching and because of our bullpen. We feel like we got the three of the top starters in the conference, and we feel like our bullpen is pretty deep, and we're able to kind of run the other team out of pitching and to use our pitching depth to hold people down so we can extend at the end of the series.
In a little while we're going to talk about that pitching depth when we start talking about the conference tournament, but it just looks as though it doesn't stop at 3 for you guys. It goes deeper on and everything, and I think that's a mark of a good team when you have a lot of good pitching to complement guys that can put the ball in play and get around the bases.
When you can hold people down offensively, then you always have a chance, and so the confidence of your position players grows, and they know that if they can just scratch a couple runs across and get a lead and be able to score a few runs at the end of the game, that we'll have a very good chance of winning the ball game.
Yeah, that run support is so important too. So let's talk a little bit about the next game. You had one game this week. Excuse me. This past Tuesday, you lost to Roanoke 4-3. Another good game. Midweek games are a little different because obviously everyone's holding out their best pitchers for the weekends. Talk a little bit about that game for us.
We played a really good Roanoke team. Matt Wilder started the game, and a funny story about him is in the second inning they had runners on base with a 3-2 count, a hitter at the plate with 2 outs, and he ends up striking the guy out. And after he struck the guy out in celebration, he jumped a little bit, and when he did, he landed and twisted his ankle. So it wasn't bad or anything, but you just don't want to send a guy back out on the mound with a sore ankle. So took him out and put Brandon Turner in, and Turner pitched a couple good innings, and Blake Odie pitched a couple innings, and then went to our bullpen with Alex Brown and Hunter Peck and Jared Talley, but ended up coming out on the short end of that. We had a few opportunities to score. Twice we had a runner at second base and nobody out and didn't score, and then we had the bases loaded in the 8th inning and didn't score. So we couldn't get a big hit, and but our bullpen's given us a chance to win almost every single game that we've played, and it was no difference in this game. one person to know, we've talked about him on here before, and is Hunter Peck, and we'll talk about the conference tournament, but Hunter's just done a fantastic job. Jared Talley's done a really good job for us, and Alex Brown's done a fantastic job for us out of the bullpen, and those guys have really given our team a tremendous amount of confidence.
Peck specifically, 22 innings, 3 walks. He's only given up 15 hits, struck out 43.
It's like a video game for him.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive right there. I think Billy Wagner would be pretty impressed with those numbers.
I was talking to Billy last night actually, and was texting with him and texted him some of Peck's numbers, and he goes, "Man, that's incredible." And actually, in 1992, Billy set the NCAA record for strikeouts per 9 innings. I think a little over 19 strikeouts per 9 innings, and
19.1, yep.
Hunter's just under that. He's like 17 point something. So,
Wow.
and Billy probably set the record for walks per 9 innings too that year, but and Hunter's only walked 3. So.
Well, I was
game.
fortunate. Billy's last 2 years were my first 2 years here, and it was very impressive watching him play and everything. So very impressive. Let's talk a little bit about the USA South standings. I'm just going to go straight down the list. Ferrum, we're fortunate to be sitting at the number 1 spot, 9-3. NC Wesleyan is next at 11-4. LaGrange at 8-4. Maryville 9-6. Methodist and Huntington are tied for 5th at 7-5, and then you've got Covenant at 6-6, Aver at 5-7. Those are the top 8 right now. Then you've got in the 9 spot Piedmont, a very good program, nationally ranked program, struggling in conference. They're 4-8. Greensboro 2-10. We're going down there this weekend, and then Peace at 1-11. We are the only team that they've beaten so far this year.
Their one is against us.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the conference tournament, getting into the conference tournament, especially for those teams, those last 4 or 5 teams in there. It's got to be just an absolute dogfight right now. And then talk a little bit about us, what we hope to do going into the tournament.
So the beautiful thing is that we have a conference tournament, because the last 2 years we haven't had a conference tournament, and essentially going into the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's only about 3 teams that really have anything to play for.
Mm-hmm.
And we were one of those teams last year that didn't really have anything to play for going into the last weekend.
Sure.
And so now everybody's got something to play for. They're trying to get into the tournament, or they're trying to win the tournament. And there's 3 teams, possibly 4 teams with Maryville that have a legitimate chance to win the conference outright. And then the rest of those guys are trying to fight to make sure that they get into that tournament so they have a chance, because the conference tournament winner gets the automatic bid. So once you get into the conference tournament, almost anything can happen.
Oh, sure. We've seen ones go down to an 8 in the first round before.
And in a conference where your 9th place team in the conference at this point is ranked 27th by Collegiate Baseball and is 17-12,
Mm-hmm.
and outside the conference tournament looking in, that means that everybody in your conference is really good.
Sure.
And that any of those guys can win.
We talked about this before. 9 of your teams are probably potentially going to have 20 plus wins, and maybe a half dozen of those are going to have 25 or more wins.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Our conference, I told one of the guys, one of the head coaches the other day, it's like playing in the SEC of Division III baseball. It's like you got 20 win teams all over the place, and like the 9th place team is not in the conference tournament yet, but it's going to win 20 games, and
yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Well, we're real excited about that. Let's talk a little bit about what we got going this weekend. I know the rain was crazy last night, lightning and everything, storms. We're looking at backing everything up. It was supposed to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair, 1 game each down there. And now it's been changed that you're going to play 1 game on Saturday starting at 3, and then 2 games on Sunday starting at 1 o'clock. Talk a little bit about going down there and what you're telling the guys coming into it. You're playing a team that's clearly at the bottom of the league, and the guys have to play at the top of their game now. Talk a little bit about what your strategy is there.
Well, last year we went down there and lost 2 out of 3 to Greensboro, and we feel like that we're a better team than they are, but winning is so hard.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who you're playing, winning is hard. And we know that their number 1 is a lefty who we've struggled against. We've struggled against lefties over the past few weeks. And so we have to go down there. He's a lefty. He's pitched 45 innings and has an ERA under 4. So he's a good, solid left-handed pitcher. And so we have to go. We know we have a job in front of us to do. And our guys, we've got enough guys on our team that have been around, that have been in these battles before, that know what it's all about, and they know not to take it lightly. They know the importance of these games coming up, that we hold our own destiny in our own hands, and they'll be prepared and ready to play. And we look forward to going down there and competing. They got a couple hitters in their lineup that have been swinging the bat really well, so they're dangerous enough certainly to beat you once and can beat you twice. So we'll be prepared for it, and we look forward to going down there and competing.
So Matt, at this point in time, it seems to be a matter of, it doesn't matter who you're playing in the conference. It's a conference game. We got to win them all and everything to stay on top and force everyone to come get us and everything, sitting at the top of the league. So
Absolutely.
Good. Well, Ryan, good luck this weekend. We're excited about seeing that. We'll come back here next week, talk a little bit about the weekend series and next week's games.
Sounds good, Gary.
Great. Well, folks, thanks for being with us. That's a wrap on This Week in Ferrum Baseball. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being with us, and have a great weekend.